Okay, since we're trying to find the surface area of the cylinder, we need to be able to remember our formula for this. For the surface area of a cylinder, that's going to be 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, or h 2 pi r is also what we learned in our notes. Now when we're looking at this, we need to plug in the pieces where they are supposed to go. So looking at this, we can see that our radius, which goes from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle, is 3.2. So we're going to plug that in for the radius. Now the radius shows up in two places in our formula, so we can plug it into both of those r's there. Then we can go and find our height. Now the height is the distance between the two circles. So even though it looks like a length here because it's horizontal, it's the height, because the height is the distance between the bases. So we'll take this 7 feet and we will add it in for h right there. So when we get our next part of our formula here, we're going to see this is going to be 2 times by pi times by our radius, which is 3.2 squared, plus 2 times by pi times by our radius, which again is 3.2, times by our height, which is going to be 7. Okay, so now that we're at this point, we are going to be needing our calculator for this because this is going to get a little bit ugly. But we're going to need to go through and do our order of operations. So starting with our exponents here, we see it's 3.2 squared. So if I take 3.2 and times it by 3.2, that gives me 3.2 squared, which is going to be 10.24. So now I have 2 times by pi, and then we're going to see that this 3.2 squared has become times by 10.24. And then as we continue to move on here, we see this is going to be plus 2 pi, and then I typically do this piece next right here when we see 3.2 times by 7. So times by 3.2 times by 7. Oop, let's clear that out. 3.2 times by 7 is going to give us 22.4. So we're going to see this is going to be times by now 22.4. Okay, when we do this, we can now multiply one more time. So as we come through and we multiply, this is 10.24 times by 2, right? Because we can put those together, and the same thing here. So when we do this, this is going to be equal to 10.24 times by 2 is going to be 20.48 pi. And then over here, 2 times by 22.4 is going to become 44.8 pi. Once we've done this, we can combine our like terms because we're going to treat x like a little variable here. So these are not like terms. We can add these two things together. And again, using our calculator over here, we can see this is going to be 20.48 plus 44.8, and that's going to give us a total of 65.28. So I have 65.28. And then we have to keep the pi at the end here, pi. Now again, as we were talking about in the notes, this is our exact answer, okay? Now, when we're doing this, we're going to need to be finding our approximate answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this pi to 3.14, and then we're going to get our approximate answer. So we see that this is now going to be 65.28 times by 3.14, and this is going to be equal to, so times this by 3.14, and that's going to be equal to a total of 204.9792. Wonderful. And again, this is going to be in feet squared.